Hey guys, we're back here at Mediocre Manor, and we're lucky enough to have Harry back.
Hi guys, I'm back in the Florida Panhandle for another week. I've been here a few days already. This is Matt, my cameraman and son-in-law.
That's right.
And helper. He comes out and helps with some of the projects on the cabin. I mean, I know I'm big and strong like bull, can't do everything all by myself. We got some new things to show you. We've since our last video in August, we've we'll talk a little bit about the solar again, which has exceeded expectations, and we have new stuff, water heater, blue flame heater, and whatnot, and we're going to just, bring you up to speed, bring you up to date. We're also going to do a question and answer, but that's going to be a different video.
No, we can do that today.
Same video.
Yeah, we had a few questions, so I think that'd be good.
All right.
Get that out of the way. So, let's get in there.
On with the show.
All right.
We're out here in the back of the cabin. As you can see, we got a lot of vinyl siding up here now, but what we also got is we've got our water heater. It's an on-demand, propane-fired outdoor water heater. It vents right up here. So you don't have no chimneys, no...
Eco temp,
right. Right, they're made pretty much for camps. They hang on the wall, they're hanging on a screw. And the nice thing is that they don't take up space indoors, and you don't need to go putting vent pipes everywhere because they vent right here. You do need to put something between it and the vinyl siding because the vinyl siding won't take the heat from the exhaust. But it's a nice little unit, inexpensive. Have to, since it's outdoors, if the temperatures do drop below freezing like they did this past January down here, which is unusual, but then you got to drain it and blow it out because it won't withstand the freezing. But since the whole interior of the cabin will drop below freezing if I'm not here, I have to do that with the shower and the sink anyway. So, but if you're going to use it, you can always hook it back up and fill it with water, have a hot shower, and then turn it off and blow it out again. So.
And you've gone with the PEX on this.
Oh, I love PEX.
Right?
Yeah.
PEX piping, tubing, whatever you call it, plumbing.
Yep. It goes together so easy. It's like a erector set for plumbing. And there's two kinds of these little clamps. But these are the
PEX clamps?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the kind with the little ears on them that you squeeze together with a certain tool, and then there's the kind that are copper rings that you squeeze the whole ring with a different tool. The tools aren't interchangeable. You got to have the right tool for the right clamp. Both of the clamps seem to work. I used the other one up in Massachusetts. I just happened to buy that tool.
So how has this been working for you? What's your experience like using this propane heater?
It's pretty good, since it's dependent on the temperature of the water and on the flow rate of the water. So it can be a little tricky. If the water's hot and the flow rate's low, it comes out ripping hot. If the water's cold and the flow rate's high, it can come out still on the cool side. But you got the little burner control here, so you can turn the amount of heat up or down. So in the summer we turn it down pretty low so that we get a slow rise in temperature, and then in the winter we turn the burner up higher so that we get a bigger rise in temperature. So it's a little tricky. It's not like having 50 gallons of water at some temperature sitting in a closet somewhere, and we don't have a closet to put it in anyway. So again, another off-the-grid little option that takes a little more management. I mean, that's
kind of have to plan, right? You can't change the temperature inside, can you?
No.
Or can you add cold?
Well, you know what
work?
But what I do have is I have a shower valve that maintains a temperature.
Really?
Yeah. That's the new thing. It's probably by law. It's probably a law that says your shower valve has to not burn you. So I'm not kidding. I'm not even kidding. I'm sure there is a law. But anyway, so you go down to Home Depot, you buy a shower valve, and it's going to have a hot-cold balancing thing right built into it. So in the shower, you can't really burn yourself. But what happens is if you have the temperature set too high, you start turning it down, it starts mixing in cold. All of a sudden, there won't be enough flow through the heater and it goes out. And now your shower turns ice cold in about a half a second. So it takes management, and that's the difference between being on the grid and off the grid. Everybody has maintenance to do on their houses. If you live on the grid, somebody else that you pay money to manages all that stuff for you. If you live off the grid, you have to manage it. So the water heater is a little bit to manage. The solar is a little bit to manage, but off the grid people tend to rather manage their own lives than to just write checks to people to manage it for them.
They're cool. They're cool people, right? I mean,
right. I mean, you know, they wear boonie hats and stuff.
Yeah.
So
cool. So it's been working out pretty good.
It's been working out pretty well.
Awesome. Any problems or anything that maybe we should mention? Anything you didn't expect? Did you have any leaks? Did you how about the mounting? Is it okay to mount outside?
It's supposed to be.
You said something about a closet.
It has to be mounted outside because it vents to the outside, so you can't.
Can you run a vent from inside to outside?
Not for this model.
No.
They warn you about that left and right. It's an intermittent use on-demand heater. It's made for this very thing. I mean, they probably had people who only come to their cabins in the summer in mind when they built this. So it's like a hybrid. You can put hot and cold water into it. You know, the next model down has a handheld shower, and you just literally stand out here and hose yourself down. But or you put it in your camper van, or or your RV. But this model's a little bit bigger, it'll heat water a little faster, and you can actually plumb it. But on the other hand, you can hook it up to a propane bottle, right?
Yeah.
And
so
you're done.
You have it. You just have it connected to that.
Right. You
and
put
your water coming in.
Screw on the wall, hang it on the screw, a couple screws to keep it from blowing around in the wind, and plumb up the hot and cold in, hot out, and you're done.
Oh, is that what you have? You have one going in and one going out to the shower, or?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
cold water coming in and hot water coming out. Again.
So there's no cold water going in the house?
Yeah, there is for other.
But not through. Okay.
There's a T under the house. I have a T and a valve in case I want to shut it off, and so I teed into the cold, bring the cold out to the hot water heater, and then the hot comes in, and that's all. This is all the hot water in the system. This is the source of hot water, and this is the source of the cold water for the hot water heater. But the cold water for the other sinks and stuff still running around in there. But the bathroom sink doesn't have that balancing valve like the shower does, and you got to be careful because you turn on the water, it starts to get hot, so you back it off and leave it just trickling, and because the flow rate is so low, and the barrels at this time of year are warmer, it comes out hot. I mean, almost boiling. Wow. It's like you can scald yourself, but there's nothing you can do about that. Unless, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say there's nothing. You could put a balancing valve in the entire system.
Just in case we had kids or something.
Right.
I mean, you'd have to do something like that.
And you can buy those. I think, where you see those a lot is on demand heaters that are on your boiler. They connect a cold and a hot to it. And then the hot water coming out is moderated by that balancing valve. So you could get one of those if you I just learned to turn some cold on with it, so
there's no kids around here running around.
Right.
You're not giving baths for the little.
Yeah, that would be scary. That would be scary
really get hurt.
Because the water can come out of this thing literally almost boiling. So it might have something internal.
It works, right?
But it works. Yeah. It's an off the grid, not $5,000. And not.
Oh yeah, what was the cost? You said not 5,000. Like, what did it cost? If you don't mind me asking.
It was in the hundreds, like a couple hundred.
Just for that unit.
Yeah,
that's cool.
225, something like that. I think. Again, you said would put some links in, and we can find this on my account, and we'll see what it did cost and what it actually is.
Cool.
So.
And no electricity, right? It's a battery. Is there a battery in there?
You're right. Good point. It's got a little battery box, and it's electric ignition, and you just put a couple D cells in there, and I keep a couple spares just in case.
Could you hook it up to the solar?
Well,
wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, to have
to hook that up. I don't know if you could, but it seems like it's pretty
ignition,
weak.
I mean, the batteries for the ignition are going to last years.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
You know, it just sparks a couple times to light the burner. I plan on having solar hot water though.
Yeah.
But of course everything takes time, and meanwhile I'm living here, and I don't know, some of the people I interact with insist that I take a shower every now and then, so.
Yes, we do. All right, let's move on to something else, another update.
Another update. All right, let's go inside.
All right.
Come on in. We had talked when we were outside about running the coffee maker. We run the coffee maker, we run the microwave on the solar system, not having any trouble. Don't have a big enough table, but we'll get to that. But the latest addition, what we needed this winter, was a heater. I was sort of hoping it would never get cold enough here in the panhandle of Florida to need a heater, but we had a pretty cold winter and it dropped into the 20s, which is pretty unusual and pretty cold. So I got a Blue Flame propane heater. This is a direct vents into the building. So not all places allow you to vent a heater inside a building. But propane burns to carbon dioxide and water vapor. So as long as you have enough of a space that you don't use up the air in the room and, you know, suffocate yourself with carbon dioxide. If they're adjusted right, they don't make carbon monoxide. Like your gas stove, right? You got a gas stove at home, you turn the burners on, nobody worries about dying from that. And this is the same thing. This is a Blue Flame heater, meaning that it creates pure heat, and the heat just comes out the vents and heats up the inside of the cabin. It wasn't working all that, I mean, the heater was working great. It wasn't heating the cabin very well because there's no insulation in most of the walls and the ceiling's all open, so that was a little bit of a problem. Once I get a ceiling in here and get some more insulation in the walls, I don't think we'll have any trouble. It's only a 10,000 BTU heater. You can get them bigger if you need them. I hooked mine up to a propane bottle. Same thing, and I ran it out the window because you're not supposed to bring the propane bottles in the house, and that's probably a good idea. It's probably also against the law to hook up one of these heaters to a propane bottle.
Law?
Yeah, I kid you not. They want it hard, you know, wired to some propane tank somewhere. Hard, I shouldn't say wired, hard plumbed by a licensed plumber and all that. But it's possible to just throw a hose on it and run it to the propane bottle outside. Pay attention to whether it wants high or low pressure gas though.
How would you know that?
It's in the specs. This is 10,000 BTUs, so it's low pressure. But some other appliances want a high pressure regulator. It'll be in the specs. It's pretty much only two. This is a gas grill, you know, this is the typical gas grill, but a lot of these, if these are way more, if they're 50,000 BTUs, you won't get enough gas through one of these little regulators. So that's all I'm saying about that, is that you just need to know.
What are these things here, Harry?
The temp, it has 3 settings. It has no thermostat. That's kind of an important thing too. It's just, but you do have 3 temperature settings, full, medium, and low. And then this is just the igniter.
Get it going.
To get it going. So, but without the thermostat, somebody's got to be here to monitor it so that it doesn't heat. If you put it on high and will go off for the day, it could be 90 degrees when you come home because there's no thermostat. So if that's something that you can't live with, then you need to get the model with the thermostat. So Blue Flame heats the air and the heat comes out. They also make what they call an infrared, which still all the heat's going to end up in the room eventually, but if you have the infrared one, you can pull up a chair and be warm whether the room is warm or not, like a fireplace. Yeah. So that's another decision you need to make, whether you want the Blue Flame, which is going to heat the environment up, or the infrared, which is going to heat you up if you sit in front of it, like a fireplace. So And I guess if you're only going to be out in places for minutes at a time, and if you don't have things that are going to freeze, then that might be a better, you know, if you get
kind of like an on-demand thing.
Yeah, if you had like a man cave and you're going to go out there and, you know, load ammunition for a couple hours, get the infrared one so you don't have to heat the whole building up to be warm.
Right.
So
what's the cost on this thing? Brand?
like, again,
Generic?
they make these in a million brands. I went by the, we can look this one up, but they're, again, low cost. I think the thing was under $200.
All right, and on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being extremely happy, like how do you feel about it?
Oh, it was easy to hook up, and when you light it up, it lights right up, and the heat comes pouring out. If there's any problem, it was on me for not getting a bigger one or for not having an insulated building.
Okay.
I think, but the air conditioner does all right, and that's only 6,000 BTUs, and this is 10,000. So I'm gonna say that once I get the insulation in and the ceiling, and kind of limit the area that's being heated, I'm gonna say it's gonna work great.
Good purchase.
So we have our air conditioner. The air conditioning was one of the first things we started to power on the battery bank. Even before I had the whole solar hooked up to the battery bank, I was running the air conditioner off the battery. So, and I charged it once with the generator. But even with only half the solar on the roof, I was able to run the AC. And now that we got the whole 1,000 watts up there, but since August we haven't had to run the AC. But it's, you know, little unit. 6,000 BTU from Walmart, I think this came, and it's just a little window unit.
Probably the smallest one you can buy.
It is.
Honestly.
It was the smallest one they had there at Walmart, but it's a small building, and see, unlike the heat, which wants to go up to the roof, the cold settles down, and so the lack of insulation didn't really kill me there. And it, you know, 3 hours, and the place would be chilly, and I'd want to shut it off.
Really?
Oh yeah.
See, I've researched this so much because so many people want to know if you can run a home air conditioner like that off of solar and batteries, and you've done it.
Oh yeah.
And so what's the main thing? The amount of batteries you have, the amount that it can charge, how long you're going to use it, right? There's different factors you were telling me.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not like it's not a concrete yes or no answer.
Right. It's not a concrete yes or no answer. It's how much power does your air conditioner use? How long do you want to run it? And it's going to cycle on and off with the temperature. See, this does have a thermostat, unlike the Blue Flame heater. It does have a thermostat. So as long as it catches up and makes the place cool, then it's going to start cycling on and off and using less power. So it's a tough answer, but in this little cabin, and it's little, it's 12 by 24, and then we got the big chunk of it missing from the bathroom, and we could open the doors and let the air condition the bathrooms, and I think we did, actually, to be honest. But it worked great. I think the hottest night last August, we ran the thing maybe 5 hours, but it really didn't suck down that battery bank that much at all.
Well, how much did it go? Do you remember? I'm sure you were keeping a close eye on it.
I was keeping an eye on it, but it was last August, and I don't really remember. And I didn't have all the solar installed, but it really had no trouble. It had no trouble. It might have sucked it down to like 23 or 22 volts or something. And it's funny because a 12-volt battery that hits 10 volts is considered dead as a doornail. So if my 24-volt system goes down to 20 volts, that's bad. That's pretty discharged. So we don't want it to get down there. So I think it was down into the upper 22s. So half to 60% discharged from.
And you ran it for 5 hours.
For 5 hours or something like that, yeah.
So you might not want to leave it on all night.
Well,
in the dark.
It depends on how many batteries. I got 8 of those monster batteries. They're like 110 amp hours each. So, and I don't think they were fully charged. I think that's the other problem. Since I didn't have all the solar up at the time, they weren't completely recovering during the day. But since then, it's like the thing's recharged by noon. Although we haven't been running the AC because it's not cold. I mean, it's not hot here at this time of year. So But the point is, you can do it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's doable. You can run something as, you know, like an air conditioner. But this is like 450 watts. And I got 2,000 watt capacity. So, so that's the other thing. And but I still have no insulation, and I still have no bedroom door. If I wanted to just air condition the bedroom, and I had insulation, and I had a ceiling system, then
it's basically a shell.
Then it would, you know, I think you could leave it running all night because it would just cycle on and off.
That's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool.
But there's not a lot of places, I think, that, unless you're living in Ecuador or something, that it gets a lot hotter than it does here in August. I mean, the real feel on the weather is always over 100 degrees.
Oh yeah, it's nasty. With the humidity, it's just brutal.
Yeah. So, but I didn't run it during the day. I would just flip it on like an hour before bedtime, and I'm not kidding. I was totally comfortable. In fact, I got cold. Mrs. Harry, on the other hand, likes it colder than I do, so
she likes the air conditioner.
That was her idea. I can sleep and sweat at the same time, but she can't.
Yeah.
So
it's a comfort thing. And you can see, so we're in the bedroom here, and you turn, basically when you walk in the front door, you're in the bathroom.
Right, because another new addition is the shower. I forgot about that. I put that in March. It was sitting here on the floor last time, but it actually managed to get in and on the walls. It's kind of a little semicircular unit. It had to fit in this small bathroom. Here's that expensive, don't scald yourself valve.
It looks like a normal valve. Oh, there you go.
We got lights here too on the ceiling. Same one. I got 3 of the same, 2 different colors. The kitchen one's bronze, just to be different.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah, that's
right. It's plumbed up to my little RV pump and to my little Eco Temp hot water heater. You turn the valve and water comes out.
Rainwater.
Rainwater comes out.
That's pretty cool. So how's it working out for you so far?
Oh, that thing's a dream.
Yeah.
With the anti-scald valve, it's real easy to control. You set it, you bring it on full hot. When it starts to heat up, you start cranking it down clockwise until it gets some temperature you like, and then it stays there.
That's neat. I mean, looking at this room, you've done the walls. There's paint.
Yep.
Like when you're in here at night, brushing your teeth or showering, and you're all off-grid showering in rainwater, that must be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it does not seem like this is like an off-grid cabin to me right now. This is beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of ways this is
awesome.
Better than our big house in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
There's some real nice stuff about it.
Yeah, I mean, look at just even the floors, like everything. It's cool.
Yeah.
You've done a good job. I like it.
Yep, it's coming along, and we've talked about the composting toilet before.
Yep.
And I'm loving that. Again, it's more management that you would be paying somebody else to do. You don't have to have a septic system, so you didn't have to pay for that, or in the case of a sewer, you don't get a sewer and a water bill. But on the other hand, you got to empty it.
And how often do you have to empty it? I guess that really would depend on your diet, how much water you drink and everything, but when you guys are here, is it like a daily thing?
No,
every couple days. Like
this one's a separating. It's nice because it's like toilet sized. It's not gigantic. It's toilet sized. It separates urine from number 2. So the pee bottle you got to empty every few days. But if you're in a pretty rural setting like this, just
dump it somewhere.
In the woods somewhere. And I've gone like 3 weeks so far at a time without having to empty the hopper for the number 2, but it mixes in with the organic material. And the nice thing about these is, like, okay, so we're gonna get a little crude. In a regular toilet with the water and the flush, you go in there and you take a dump and you smell up the whole freaking house, the whole room. This thing is vented to the outdoors with a little 12-volt muffin fan, no pun intended.
I think we showed that before, but
yeah.
There's the vent tube.
It goes right out through the floor. I got a screen on it so that bugs can't come back in the tube. But since it's continuously vented and since it's mixed with organic matter in the toilet, I use coconut, then there's no smell at all.
Really?
None. Do you smell anything? I don't smell
No,
anything.
I mean, I don't right now.
No. If you go down there and crawl under the cabin and stick your nose up to that, you can smell it a little, but it's not that gross.
So you've done that, Harry.
Well, only because I was under
right. You're like, yeah, why not?
I was under there doing plumbing and stuff, and it's like I happen to be near it, but it's really not as bad. It's not like that raw sewage smell that you get.
Right.
So I'm even loving that. Again, a little bit more management to do, but
now is that bolted to the floor? What is that little thing under the?
This guy, the spider?
No, underneath that, on the ground.
Oh yeah,
it looks like there's some kind of.
It's a little twisty thumb thing so that you can.
Oh, okay. You screwed it right to the floor. I never noticed that before.
It comes off, and the bracket is attached to the floor, because what you're going to need to do is separate the top from the bottom, and it just hinges up and slides off, and then unscrew the basin and carry it out and dump it somewhere. So
that whole bottom part just comes off.
Right.
Now when you take the top off, is there something, or are you just looking at piles of shit? Compost.
Compost, man. It's not that bad. Again, it's not that bad.
But your face is right there. There's no...
Right.
Wow. Yeah, so you're getting right up close and personal.
But see, I empty it when I return, so it's been composting for weeks.
You let it sit.
Yeah, so it sits for months, and then it's been composting for months.
Yeah.
And then I take it, and I... ultimately, I want 2-barrel composters so that I can just continue the composting, and then when one's full, start with the other one, and then when that one gets full, empty the first one, and we can and then we can spread that stuff around. For because it's going to be real composted by then.
He's in the garden.
Again, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm real happy with that. The shower enclosure, I think I kind of wish I had gone with a one-piece enclosure. This one has, you put up the base, and you put up this wall, and you put up that wall, and it's been a pain in the ass to get it tight to the water, so they make them in one piece, and then you can either put a curtain up or a door, but it's
to the bottom is the sides. It's all just like a mold.
It's all just one big molded piece,
and then with one door.
Your leaking trouble is over because they just don't leak. They're all one piece. But getting this thing to seal, it's been a pain in the neck. And even this morning I saw water dripping out under the cabin because somewhere down in that corner there's some little tiny path where water gets through from something I didn't caulk right, and it's dripping out. So
not too happy with that.
So not too happy with the enclosure, but again, it was cheap.
It looks really nice.
It looks okay.
Yeah.
It mechanically it functions. You pull the little handle and it rolls open. You can roll it close. But
no leaks in the tray or anything like that. That was one piece, right?
Yeah.
So the water is actually running down the wall or something.
Exactly.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it's down in this corner somewhere. There's some little hole where water can just work its way through and down behind the base. Right. This is the latest project. Get that Tyvek covered up. Even though I'm a wood guy, I decided to go with the vinyl for the cost and low maintenance aspect of vinyl siding and the ease of installation. I mean, the stuff really is easy to work with. You do a piece, they got the little, they have this little edge on them, and you just hook it on, snap it up, nail it across the top, and away you go. So you can do, you can just fly right up a big expanse like this. When you get to the windows, you throw some J-channel, some undersill channel, some J-channel, and then you get here and you just start cutting them shorter, and you go up on either side of the window. When you run into, some trouble when you're making transitions, like out over the porch here, but it's just so easy to work with. So even though I think the wood would look better and be more in keeping with my off-the-gridness, I had to go with the vinyl.
And we have a few questions from some viewers since the last video. And Made in America asked, does a cabin like this need to have extensive foundations like you have? Or...
Well, the foundation, of course, is a function of the weight of the building, and you need enough square footage, deep enough, so that it will support the weight. Now, when they build houses with full foundations, you know, you got 8-inch walls that go all the way around, and they have a footing under that. That's overkill. That's way overkill. That's way more square footage of foundation than you need. But it's a calculation, and it depends on the kind of soil and every other darn thing. But generally speaking, what do I got under there? I've got 14 8-inch sonotubes, and that actually might be marginal for this kind of soil. It's but they make what thing they call a Bigfoot. It's a sonotube with a bigger expanded base to it, so it's like it goes down into the dirt and then it gets bigger. So if you had 14 of those Bigfoot footing things under there, that would be plenty for this cabin. I got the main house on 10 and then 4 more under the porch. So that's about all the extent you need. If you're in a place where you have hard frosts, like Massachusetts or Maine or Montana or Nebraska, North Dakota, then you're going to need to get those down below the frost line so that you don't have the thing heaving when the dirt freezes and stuff. So, but down here in Florida, you get a lot of houses built up on piers like this. I like it because it gives me access to under the cabin.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not scary. It's not liable to be full of who the hell knows what, snakes and lizards and armadillos and rats, and because they can't hide under there. You know, it's all open. So,
how much did the cabin roughly cost in materials?
Well, this cabin here wasn't too bad. I mean, I'm doing all the work myself, and I'm buying all the material locally at the local Home Depot. You get a contractor account there, or a pro account, or whatever, and they'll actually start discounting some stuff for you if you buy it in big enough chunks. So to answer the question, initially I think I spent about $4,000 to get the footings poured and the shell up. So, but then it's, you know, plus, you know. So then so then you say, you know, another what do we got there? 30, well, the roofing shingles are probably another grand, the siding's another grand, a
lot of stuff.
The solar system was like 4 grand. So, but just the cabin itself, I bet you could get this thing up and livable for under 10 grand if you do all the work yourself and you don't have a septic system or any kind of grid tie-ups. If you want the solar, well, that's its own separate thing. So
that would add probably. What would you say your solar system cost?
Probably another 4 grand.
Yeah, for everything, batteries included.
Yeah, $800 for the batteries. You know, $1,000 for the panels. $700 or $800 for the inverter. A couple $100 for the solar controller. But then you got all this miscellaneous wiring and crap.
That's where they get you.
And connectors and fuses and this and that, and it just starts to add up. So, but yeah, probably 4 grand on that solar system.
So for 14 grand, you could have the same setup.
Yeah, I mean,
14, 15 grand, which is not that much if you're thinking about an off-grid cabin.
Right.
I mean, that's cheaper than most RVs and things like that people live in.
Right.
And it's a nice little.
You know, by the time you're done, though, it's going to be more. It's because of all the stuff, you know. So I guess I'd plan on about 20 if you want to build something like this. But still, that's not bad.
No, not at all.
That's not bad. I mean, you can't get a bathroom installed for 20 grand in most houses.
Yeah. All right. Ray Claire writes, what happens when the rain barrels are both full and it's still raining? I don't see an overflow.
Well, you're right, Ray. There is no overflow. What happens is the barrels overflow. The gutters go right in through the top of the barrel. The barrel has this little clamp on top. And when it fills up, it just overflows. But the ground here in this part of the country is so porous that you can get 2 inches of rain and come out 10 minutes later and there's not a puddle to be seen anywhere. It just soaks right into the soil. It's mostly sand, so I just don't worry about it. But if you're somewhere where you're going to worry about that, then you're going to need to put, you know, an overflow in it and drain that water off someplace safer, someplace that works better for you. So yeah, you nailed that one, but so far I just let it overflow. Right, well, we've done an overview of the whole system and we've answered some questions, but I'll be here another week, so if you have some more questions, maybe we'll get a chance to do another video. And if we think of anything else new, we'll include that as well.
Yeah, maybe some more in-depth videos on solar. We were talking about maybe a video on solar panels.
Right, there seems to be a lot of misunderstanding about solar panels. You know, the voltage, oh, it's a 12-volt panel, but it's putting out 22 volts. Things like that, and how they work and how they act under various circumstances. So.
And you're really good. You enjoy that stuff. You could talk about it for hours anyways, so.
Probably. More
you have, believe me.
More than you ever wanted to know, right?
Believe me. Not that I don't take the information in, but like you can go and go and go. And for somebody like me, sometimes it's just like over my head. But I think some people really appreciate it from what I've seen, you know? In the comments and stuff. They like the detail. If
you're going to build your own system, unfortunately, you got to know this stuff. I mean, I've seen comments online and stuff about, oh, just tell me what I need to buy. It's like, well, it's just not that easy. You have to know exactly what you're doing. But if you do it yourself, you're saving a lot of money. If you hire somebody to build you a solar system, they're not going to make any compromises. They're not going to pick components the same way you would pick them, and so you're going to end up with a $20,000 system.
But you didn't have to think about it.
But you didn't have to think about it.
You paid for it. Or you could talk to Harry, somebody like Harry, read a book, figure it out for a couple days, and then save a ton of money.
And make your own choices. One of the choices we made here was to put 1,000 watts of solar on the roof and live with it. It's, you know, we can't plug in the toaster and the coffee maker at the same time. Oh well. Suck it up, you know. So instead of trying to build a big enough solar system to live like we would live if we were on the grid, we're going to build a solar system that we can afford and live within that amount of power. So far it really hasn't been hard. It's pretty easy, actually.
You love it here, from what I've heard.
Oh yeah.
It's your favorite place to be, right?
It is.
You're on vacation technically, but...
Well, technically, but I'm also semi-retired anyway, so I'm on vacation wherever I am, and but it's nice here.
But this, so this is not like, so you really get this stuff, but this is not, this is kind of all new to you, the whole solar thing, right? But you have like an engineering background.
I have an engineering background, so yeah, solar itself is kind of new to me, but it follows a lot of the same principles of all kinds of engineering stuff. But I build stuff. I've always built stuff since I was a kid. I just build stuff. So, and a lot of my stuff crashed and burned. Some of it literally.
Really?
So, but that's how you learn, right?
Yeah. It's true. That's what they say, anyways.
Yep. Well, that's what Edison said. You know, I haven't failed. I've just found 4,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
Well, let's try not to burn this place down. Hopefully, you've learned by now.
No, I paid a lot of attention to that.
Yeah.
To making sure the solar system was safe and the wiring is safe. But so yeah, we're not going to burn this down.
No, it's a nice place. I think that if you do have questions, leave it in the comments. You're here for another like 7 or 8 days. So if you leave comments, if you have any questions, like we're definitely going to be looking at the comments. And even if it's just one question, we can come out here. Maybe we'll get a beer next time. We can sit here on the porch and talk about it.
Maybe we'll get a beer.
Why not?
Maybe.
Well, for the video. You know what I'm saying? For the video.
Maybe we'll get a beer.
Yeah, we'll come back for another video where we go a little bit more in depth with Harry.
Yeah.
Solar panels.
Solar panels.
We'll soak that knowledge up while it's here.
Open circuit voltage, short circuit current.
And batteries.
And batteries.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks, Harry.
Alrighty. Talk to you again soon.
Beautiful day.